Hello, my name is Kelly Frantz-Langford, and this is my EDL 853 Mod 1 project. An introduction to myself always begins with my family. We have three kiddos. Our oldest is a freshman at KU. Our middle guy is a sophomore in high school, and our youngest just started kindergarten. So it's been an interesting year for all three. With a blended learning of hybrid and remote. The picture on the far right is an older picture of our family, but it's been a while since we've had our family photos taken. My bachelor's degree is in psychology, and then I have a master's of education in early childhood special education. I have additional graduate credit hours in autism spectrum disorders, and obviously I am currently working on my building administrator certification. I have spent the last 16 years with TARC's Children's Services Program. I spent 7 years as an early childhood special education teacher in the Birth to 3 special education program, and then the last 9 years as the assistant director. Just a little bit about Tiny K. The Tiny K program in our department is the third largest in the state. It's the special education Birth to 3 program. We served over 900 children last year. This year it looks like our numbers will be a little bit lower due to COVID. But again, hopefully we'll retain our status as the third largest program. Tiny K networks are different than school districts, and so oftentimes they can be housed either as individual non-for-profits or as part of a community developmental disabilities organization. Our particular program is housed by TARC, which is a non-for-profit, but we have an employment contract with Greenbush, who provides all of our teachers and therapists. So it's a really great opportunity for me to learn from both programs. As far as my professional activities, I am currently the president of the Tiny K Alliance, which is the advocacy program for Tiny K networks across the state. And I am also a member of the Early Childhood Advisory Panel with the Children's Cabinet and Trust Fund. As far as inclusion, I believe that all means all. And sort of the tenet to an inclusive culture to me is best described by this quote: "When a flower doesn't bloom, you fix the environment in which it grows and not the flower." I full-heartedly believe that the principal is responsible for engaging the school community in understanding the benefits of an inclusive education. And to be successful, though, it has to be a collective process, beginning with the principal valuing equity. I will say Part C services are slightly different in that all of our work is in homes. Natural environments is the technical term, where children would be, if regardless of if they did or didn't have a disability, which naturally lends to better inclusion as far as the child's education plan. Certainly, it's something that we continue to address in our community as we look for opportunities for our children to participate in all of the opportunities in our county. The other piece of an inclusive culture, I believe, is I read this in one of the articles and I really liked the 3 R's of recognize, respect, and respond. Recognizing and really embracing the individuality of each person, including races, culture, gender identification, sexual orientation, family structure, social economic status, or social economic differences, and learning abilities. Once you do that, respect comes into play in teaching ethics and putting them into practice, and then you have to respond and understand and support each individual. As far as advocacy, I believe in empowering families from the beginning of their educational experience. In fact, in Part C, it's one of the tasks that we're required to do as family service coordinators is understand and allow for opportunities for parents to to practice advocacy within their communities. But we really approach services in working with parents from the very beginning and advocating for their child, helping them to understand the importance of being a member of their educational team, knowing that they support or that they identify the outcomes that they want for their child and their family, and that we work alongside them as members of the team. And so Part C is naturally set up to be supportive of advocacy of parents. As far as ensuring equity, I believe that developing a leadership team is one of the probably best moves that a principal or an administrator can make, because to really understand and analyze equity issues within our program, you have to bring in a broad perspective. No one individual is going to be able to see all of the areas that need to be changed. Then you have to really gather data using both informal and formal tools. And I think the mix of informal and formal is important to note, because anecdotal information and experience and people sharing their experiences is just as important as formal tools such as children meeting outcomes, child progress, and those sorts of things. It's important to take a wide perspective of all of the information in your program. Analyzing the data, of course, would be an important next step. And then to set outcomes and priorities that you can make meaningful progress towards. I do believe that the principal or administrator really sets the foundation for motivating everyone for if there are issues that arise. And honestly, that's generally what, as an administrator, I do on a daily basis, is to address the issues that come up in our program. But I think as far as inclusion, it's really important that the principal or the administrator set the expectation of inclusion and sharing examples of what that looks like in the school and community. And so the foundation is there, and that's the direction we're going. But as people share their negative experiences or their concerns, it's really important to listen and to understand their perspective, because they bring value to the conversation just as much as people that are on board do. In fact, if you really want to make progress, it's important to really listen to the people that have concerns, because addressing those most likely very valid issues will really help build trust and confidence across your school community. And I will also say I specifically noted including parents, staff, and community members, because I do think it's important to take a holistic perspective on inclusion. If you have everybody embracing the same goal and valuing and sharing the same values of everybody belongs, all means all, it's a lot easier to work through challenges knowing that we all have the same end goal. When those challenges or concerns arise, the next thing would be to identify any resources that are available to address those concerns. And I use the word resources because although oftentimes we look at funding as one of those supports, it's not always the only resource. Sometimes training, sometimes education, sometimes partnering with different people can bring the resources that are needed to address the concerns. And then finally, I think it's important if people are willing to share their concerns with you and you listen and try to address them, it's really important to have follow-up conversations to make sure that your attempts at addressing them were successful, or to understand if there are still concerns, what they are, but most importantly, so that they know that they're important too, because if all means all, then everybody needs to be supported and heard. These are my references, and I appreciate your time.